Welcome back to another episode of the Safeties Off Show. I'm joined by Mr. Jordan Legg.
I had to come save face after all the.
Yes.
There's been a lot
After
of
all the trash talk.
there's
That's
been
very
a
true.
lot of trash talk.
There's been a lot of trash talk, but it's rightfully so. It's been in conversation.
I mean,
We're not seeking it out.
last week was a bit of a
Stretch.
No, it was a roller coaster. I mean, there were some
Yeah.
highs, there were some lows. I cried, I laughed, a little bit of everything.
Wow, what a beautiful podcast this is.
Yeah.
But today's episode is incredible. We've already recorded it, obviously, so we can speak on it. Mr. Todd from Simmons Sporting Goods. He's a bow tech there. He's the bow manager, the bow department manager. I don't know what you would call that. But anyways, he's like crazy knowledgeable, super nice guy.
One of the real ones.
Never makes me feel dumb, even though I know I am just a dumb old PE teacher. We got guys like Jordan and Justin that know everything, the ins and outs of bows. Jordan is the smartest guy of all time.
There's only one pro tip. That's Justin Rogers.
And that is Justin Rogers.
Yeah,
You're right.
I'm junior level.
It's very true. But before we get to the podcast, let's talk about our sponsors. First one, Dirty Duck Coffee. Years ago, a passion and legacy was created over a common obsession for the wild pursuit of waterfowl. This evolved into a coffee and apparel brand called Dirty Duck. I've actually replaced my coffee. I've been drinking for years now with Dirty Duck. It's a true statement. Right now, I'm doing that cinnamon teal snickerdoodle. It's incredible. I'm going to send you home with some.
You
It's incredible.
bogarted all the coffee. So
Yeah, I have been. I'll send you home some.
Yes, please do.
It's the easiest ad read of all time because the coffee's awesome and the gear is great too. Check them out. Use promo code KCO15 for 15% off your entire purchase. Help us out. Help them out. Buy you some and use KCO15 at checkout. Next, we have Dino Climbing.
Dino Climb.
Yes, sir. Use code KCO15 at checkout when you purchase their pre-workout. It says it's a pre-workout for climbers, but what I find is it helps me in my mid-afternoon slump in between teaching and coaching. I have the Bigfoot Berry, pretty dang good. And then we talked about on last podcast, that Dino Climb, we do climb trees.
Me and Justin climb trees.
I get in a tree stand that I get higher in a tree. Okay, I'm not going into this. Our next sponsor, Jordan's going to do his ad read.
Yeah.
First ever. Let's go.
I have a speaking voice for silent movies, but here we go. Trip Tech. We have followed them forever. It's a 501 hunting multi-tool. Where's it at? I need to hold it up.
Boom, right here.
Show the folks at home. It works as a punch. Use it to unscrew choke tubes. Upland game hunters can even use it to distinguish between mature or juvenile birds. It's awesome.
It is. You got to have it on your lanyard and landward.
Yes,
I'm gonna send you home with one too.
On both. Yep.
Yes, ready to go. It's pretty sweet.
Great tool.
I
will say too, as far as Dino Climb goes, my daughter had a birthday party. Well, she went to a birthday party Saturday
at the climbing spot.
At the climbing place.
She needed some.
I needed some.
To deal with that party.
I
absolutely.
couldn't make a fist for about 2 days afterwards.
Dang it, man! You should have.
I went climbing. Yeah, I'm about 30 pounds.
I didn't know we were
about
such a
30
climbing
pounds past climbing. Let me tell you that.
I didn't know we were such a climbing podcast.
We are. That's why we're.
I'll send you home some of that too. So
I need some.
And then also a great program, HuntWise. Check it out. Goes below us, KCO20. Get 20% off. Check that out. I promise you that it's the second easiest ad read behind Dirty Duck is HuntWise.
Oh yeah.
It's great maps, markers. We're using it on the new property that we're hunting, Travis and I. It is great. Check them out.
Sell out.
I am a sellout, but enjoy the episode.
Bro, I almost coughed out.
You got that heater on full blast. You got all the windows down, and you're such a.
We appreciate you coming on, Mr. Todd. This is Jordan. Jordan wasn't able to come to Simmons that day.
I was not invited.
He was not invited.
Let's
be honest. There's only so many people you can fit in the truck to go all the way to Bastrop. But man, what's been going on? I know it's been hectic at the store. Everybody's getting ready for bow season. How's it been?
Been pretty busy. Of course, we had no tax weekend was weekend before last, so pretty crazy weekend. A lot of guys had come in and had put their bows on layaway so they could take advantage of the no tax weekend. They came in, paid them off, and so we rigged out a bunch of bows that weekend. And then a lot of guys chose to come in over the last week or so. They've been slowly trickling in just as they had time. And so, yeah, that and a lot of people wanting, getting it on their mind. And so they're just now breaking their bows out and realizing, hey, I need I need help. I need a new string. I need all this. Something's wrong. And so, yeah, it's been wild.
I chose a heck of a time just to get a new bow.
You did.
But I will say, Mr. Todd was very patient with me. He asked me how heavy I thought my arrows were, and I said, I don't know, 350. I told him the spine.
The spine.
Yeah. this guy over here, Jordan would have been a little bit more help. But the guys I brought with me, Jacob and Travis. Travis is a guy. I think I told you he got a new elite bow, and he's like shot it like 10 times. He got a great deal on it. So I guess he just thinks he's going to be Robin Hood out there on day one. But
all right, you don't know you know what he shoots. You don't know what I shoot. Off the cuff, what is your favorite bow brand for everything?
For everything, I'm a Matthews guy. I mean, we sell Matthews, Hoyt, Elite, Bowtech, PSC, Bear. We sell a little bit of everything. We actually have an expedition bow in the shop, and but I've been shooting Matthews for a while. I'm probably gonna have to change up next year just because the way the shop is, and we're trying to shoot other things. Now, just because I shoot Matthews, I don't push Matthews on anybody, but I do like their product. They have a good bow, and but Hoyt equally as well this year really had a great offering. I like their carbon bow. That Bear's really got some good stuff right now that they're doing. Elite, man, I like their new bow. Bowtech, I mean, Riley, one of my techs, he's shooting the Bowtech this year. Will is shooting the Elite. And, I mean, we try to switch it up every year. I think this year we're going to do something. They want to put names in a hat. And so we're going to draw to see who shoots what. And I think that's going to be interesting. Yeah. That's going to be fun, especially. So we're going to draw to see who shoots what bow manufacturer, arrow, rest and sight and all that, and kind of switch it up. So we're not. I mean, that's one of the things we all try to shoot something different, because if we all shot the same thing, like if you walk in, Jordan, you say, "Hey, man, what do you like?" I mean, if we're all shooting the same thing, we're kind of all pushing the same product, and we try not to do that.
Yeah.
That is insane. No, I don't think anybody else in the country, except for bow dealers, guys that work at bow shops, would be able to do that, where you put your names in a hat. I'm going to shoot this bow.
Which
that's
2022
cool.
bow do I want this?
Yeah, that's pretty dang cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's sight and all that. So you're either going to shoot like a 5 or.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the deal. We're very fortunate because our boss, Hunter, he's very gracious to us, and so every year we get a new bow. I mean, that's just part of the package deal. Working in that industry and working on bows.
Right.
We get a new bow every year, and so the first couple years I was there, and once Riley and Will came on, I was like, "Hey guys, whatever." At that time, Riley was shooting an Elite, and that's what he wanted. And I said, "Hey, we'll fix you up." Will was shooting a Hoyt, and so he did. And I mean, we try to change it up. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool that we have the opportunity to shoot all these bows and go out and we actually test the product. And a lot of our reps give us product, and they say, "Hey, y'all shoot this and tell us what you think. We want some feedback. We want to know, does it work? How well you like it?" And in exchange for doing, giving them some product testing and a little feedback, they kind of make sure that we have plenty of stuff to hunt with, and it makes it really nice.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Well, all right, let's go the other way. I'm not going to ask your least favorite brand because I know you don't want to brand shame, but what brand do you have the most trouble with? I'm sure people bring stuff in for repairs and issues and all that. What's the least What's the most troublesome brand that you have been seeing?
Um, I mean, I guess I can say it on here. I guess my least favorite and the one that we have more issues. In the past, though, they've really been a good manufacturer, but in recent years, PSE has, I don't know, I know they brought Dudley on and they've tried to, rebrand and do some things, and they're really trying to reach some people. But man, probably my least favorite bow whenever it comes to tuning, and also if we have problems with limbs or cams or that kind of stuff, it's usually a PSC.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk. That's what I was shooting before, but I don't want to talk bad about it. But I will say on the social media side of things, the brands that kill it in social media, Hoyt, and I'd say Bear. Like a lot of
Yeah.
guys, which Cameron Evans, Cameron Haynes,
Right.
shoots a Hoyt, and then I think so does Joe Rogan,
Right.
if I remember correctly. So boom, there's two huge names right there. You got Chris B Real, who
Chris and Chris and Levi shoot Matthews, and so they have a huge following. Then you've got Dudley that shoot PSC.
Right.
Of course, I mean Hunt and Public has done, huge things for Bear, and our Bear rep was in the shop last weekend for the no tax deal. Got to spend some time with him and talk with him about some of the stuff they're doing, and he just got back he was out at the manufacturer and got to do some new stuff and looking at stuff. I don't know. I mean, they're trying to really step their game up. I mean, social media has really changed everything. And, I've tried to explain this to especially retailers. I mean, if you're not following, some of the old guys in the industry, I mean, they don't even know what they call it, book face, or they don't know what TikTok, what is TikTok, I'm like, look, if you're not following TikTok, if you're not on Facebook, if you're not, podcasts and YouTube and all these things, if you're not paying attention to that, you're really behind the times, because that's what's driving the market right now. I don't know about y'all, but I don't watch TV. I mean, I have a cable subscription, but I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I don't get any printed, publication. So
I don't read.
if it's not on Facebook, or if it's not on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, social media, I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on, and that's kind of where that's driving the market right now. And trying to explain this to some of the people, not just in our store, but in the industry. Some of these guys, and they're like, "Well, I don't get it." And I said, "Well, I do." I said, because these guys, they have thousands, if not millions, of followers, and they can take one product and turn the world upside down. Where used to, you were spending all this money on advertising, on TV ads and on newspaper print and all this stuff, and you were only reaching a small market. These guys can really, literally, reach the World Wide Web, and they tell people what to buy.
Yeah, it's very true, because and then also when they invest money into these, let's say it was us, not to toot our horn, but our following is that certain niche that wants to know about bow hunting. It's not like they want to know about sports, or they want to know about, I'm trying to think of something crazy off the cuff, like dancing or whatever. that was
Right.
off the cuff, but they want to know about bow hunting or fishing and stuff like that. So they can legit tap into that audience. Whereas what you're talking about is exactly right. They used to have to go get a billboard, and everybody would see that, from the hunters to my grandma. She doesn't really care anything about Bowtech or Elite or PSE or anything like that. So you've definitely seen that within the past few years.
Well, plus, I mean, the big thing right now is trying to get the next generation into shooting and into hunting. I mean, everybody, especially with all the, I think it's still a minority, but there's a growing presence of anti-weapon, anti-hunting, anti-this and that. So we're trying to stem that with the new generation. Well, they're not reading a freaking newspaper. They're not looking at billboards either.
Well, that's what a lot of these guys don't understand. And I mean, all these people. I'm 48. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm 48 years old. and I'm technically challenged. We just saw that a few minutes ago. But
Well, so
I mean,
wait
I
for
have a son that's 18 years old, and I mean, they have a computer in their hand. I mean, they walk around with it all day long. And like if they wanna know something, they have Google. I mean, used to we had to, we went to the Encyclopedia Britannica. I mean, whenever I was his age, there was maybe one hunting show that came on Saturday. We had 3 channels on our TV. You didn't have all this exposure. You didn't see all this. There wasn't this huge amount of knowledge. I mean, that's just like today. I encounter people every day. They're already a bow tech because they've watched a video on YouTube and they know how to do all this stuff. And they walk in, they tell me how I should do my job and how to set their bow up, and they know they want all this stuff. So it's a different world we live in, and I think we're trying to change with it. We're trying to catch up, and we're trying to understand how social media is kind of steering, and whatever's hot is what's selling. I mean, I can see that. You can watch any of those hunting shows, and whatever they're pushing, and that's what people are walking in. I mean, 2-3 years ago, all of a sudden, Ranch Fairy. I'd never heard of Ranch Fairy.
Yeah.
I was know what I'm talking about. FOC was my next question. So yeah, I know all about old Ranch Fairy.
So I literally had never heard of Ranch Fairy, and this guy walks in and he says, "Man, I want a 600 grain air, and I want to do all this." And I was like, "What are you? I mean, where is this coming from?" Yeah, I was like, "Wow, what is going on?" And then he's like, "Well, you ever heard of Ranch Fairy?" And I was like, "No, but I'm sure I'm fixing to." And so anyway, after he left, I Googled Ranch Fairy, and I was like, oh my gosh, literally for, the next year and a half, probably 2 years. And we're kind of falling off the other side now, but tons and tons of people came in and said, "Hey man, they bought the Ranch Fairy kit. They drank the Kool-Aid. They went down the rabbit hole, and they were like, man, we want to go heavy, heavy, heavy. I want, 20% FOC. I want 250 up front. And I want, just crazy stuff." And I was like, "Dude, you don't want to do that." And they're like, "Oh yeah, I do. And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's do it." And, I built some areas over the last couple of years, and a guy walked in shooting, a 2010 bow, and put a 600 grain arrow in there, and he's shooting 210 feet per second. He looks at me and says, "Man, I don't think I want to do that." It's like, well, hey, that's what you said, you know? Hey, that's why Joe Rogan and Cam Hayes are shooting 80-pound bows and 85-pound. That's why they're shooting. But yeah, and that guy was shooting a 60-pound Legacy, like an old Matthews solo cam bow. You can't do that.
Yeah, not going to work. And then I was talking with Riley while I was at Simmons a couple weeks ago about the Joe Rogan Cam Haynes thing, because I things have changed so much from when I was 18 years old. I'm 30, since we're just throwing out ages. You want to talk about how old you are?
Oh, I'm 30.
Hey-o. But so when I was in high school, things were totally different. Like, it was cool then to get the smaller bow. Like,
sure.
PSC I had the Bow Madness extra short, and that was pretty cool to have, to be fast and small.
It's coming back to that now too. They're getting smaller again.
So, but anyway, so when I went in, I was talking to Riley about, man, Cam Haynes he's shooting like a 90-pound bow now, or 85 or something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. And then he told me, which it makes sense, Cam Haynes only hunts with that bow. He has one bow that's at 70 pounds, and that's what he films himself, shooting in his driveway with every day. And then when it's time to go elk hunting, he gets that 90-pound bow, because you deal with archery stuff every day. I can only imagine what stress that would be on your tricep, on your elbow, on your shoulder, pulling back 90 pounds every single day.
Zeus too.
That's true, but
yeah.
So but I'm not Zeus. So what?
But this is a whole deal. Like what you're saying, what they're not telling you, what Cam Hayes and what Ranch Fairy and what Dudley and all these guys, even your guy that you came in and you said, "Hey, I want to shoot 100 up front. I want to do this." What they're not telling you is, they're shooting 70 plus pounds in order to compensate for the weight that they're adding to that area. Another thing, Jordan, to your question about FOC, a lot of people are like, well, FOC, that's penetration. Look, FOC, think of it like this. You remember lawn darts?
Yeah.
You throw it up in there, and I mean, that weight's going to drag it straight down and bury it up. It's the same. It's the same thing with FOC. By adding more weight to the front of it, it's going to help with wind. It's going to help, with that resistance. It's going to help. But as far as penetration, FOC is more about accuracy. And so there is a little misunderstanding about that. Total weight is going to give you more penetration. You can add that to the front or the back, but by adding it to the front, you're going to have more accuracy, especially if you're those Westies and they're out chasing mule deer and elk and, where the wind blows all the time out there. I mean, that's where that FOC is really going to give you some benefit.
Well, that makes sense because a lot of the guys, Ranch Ferry, I think he's in Texas, maybe, Ranch Ferry.
South of Dallas. Somewhere.
But a lot of the guys that you listen to talking about this, they're also talking about, I had to go to a low pro fletching because of the crosswinds and, I can't do a 4-fletch because of this. And, they're dealing with a completely different set of elements than us with a 30-yard shot in the woods,
Sure. And this is the thing. What I guess they give you just enough information to lure you in and to make you want to try it or want to experience it, whatever. They don't really tell you all the science behind it and what it, 4-fletch. You need more steering, like on these single bevel, fixed broadheads, these big fixed broadheads, anything fixed, you're going to want more steering on those. And so you're going to need, more vanes will give you that. Taller, vanes will give you that. So you want something to steer. That's what those vanes are for, steering that broadhead. So,
because it's steering from the front if you don't, right? If you're shooting.
Exactly. If you got that big fixed blade up there up front and you don't have enough on the back,
right?
Yeah, it's going to go where it wants to.
Right. Yeah, because I'm shooting. I had a lot of issues with that. I'm shooting relatively heavy. I think I'm at 5. I forgot my setup now. 540. I think I'm shooting at 225.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm heavy.
Wow.
I'm heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm shooting 70 pounds. Shooting Bowtech. That's why I was asking that. And I did have some issues setting it up. That's why I was wondering what you've had problems with.
And you're 225 feet per second.
No, I don't know what my FPS is. I'm saying I'm 200 grain broadhead with a
200 grain. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Broadhead with a 50.
So you got about a 300 grain arrow with 200 up front.
Yeah, 250 up front because I got a 50 grain.
250 up front.
Grain half out too.
Right.
But I had heck getting that thing to because I was underspun.
Yeah.
I figured that out and cut it a little bit shorter and got it because I started trying to do 315 grains.
That's the whole physics class that we had whenever.
Yeah, when I had to tell you I was a PE teacher.
Tyler and Travis, we were talking about physics, and they were like, I don't do physics, but it is. You have to think about that. So this is the whole deal. A guy walks in, and he says, I got a 400 spine arrow I've been shooting, and now I want to put 200 grains up front.
Right.
Well, you can't do that because you're weakening that spine.
So Ranch Ferry would call it Twizzler.
Yeah, that's what's tough, and trying to explain to somebody, hey, that won't work. Well, why won't it? Well, and he failed physics,
Don't look at me.
Well, I'm still figuring it out. Like I said, I did the same thing. Maybe not quite as extreme, but I had I think they're 320s. Black Eagle, 320s or 350s, you would know.
350s. Those are going to be Black Eagle 350s. You were shooting the Rampage?
Rampage, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I tried to get them to spine with a 315 grain Ashby broadhead. Well, it wasn't happening. Ooh. It was not happening. Not even close. No. I kept, we thought it was my shooting, and I was getting laughed out of the yard. And then finally, we figured out that's what it was. So I went to a 200 grain, cut them an inch shorter, and it's been fine ever since. But
yeah,
I don't even know.
I'm gonna tell you one of the hardest job I have, and I experience it most every day. The hardest job I have is paper tuning a bow. And this is the deal. I can take your bow and and I can set it up, and I can walk over there to the paper and shoot it. I can shoot a perfect bullet hole. I'm not saying that as in a bragging way or anything like that, but I'm pretty confident in my skills that I know how to shoot a bow. But this is the deal. Not everybody can do that. And so I can take that bow and set it up where I know it's center shot. It'll shoot a bullet hole, and I can hand it to you, and it'll be, an inch and a half tear. And it's usually grip. Most of it's grip. Form. That's right. Torquing, what they call torquing. And so it's hard to tell somebody, hey, look, man, hey, you're torquing the bow in a polite way. It's hard to say, look, really, and I'm standing behind them looking up the bowstring, and it's rolling out that top cam, at a hard angle like that. You know what it's going to do. It's going to cause a tear. And so you try to kind of try to educate them a little bit. Hey, this is what you might be doing. You might be, but guys who've been, they've never been taught the correct way. And so that's the way they shoot, and you're not going to change them.
Yep.
And so, but they expect you to be able to, they want to be able to shoot a bullet hole. Well, in order for me to do that, I've got to tune that bow to them. And a lot of times, you're talking about either, making an adjustment on the cams inside the limb pockets, or moving the rest, kicking it way to one side or the other in order for it to shoot a bullet hole. And it's not, I don't like doing that. And that's one of the hardest things I have to deal with as a bow tech setting up bows.
Because when I came in, he had to. He fixed my whole anchor point where my knuckles were and stuff because I had been shooting wrong. I actually
noticed in your reel that you posted, I was like, man, this form's looking good.
Hey, man, that's all Mr. Todd. That's all Mr. Todd. Well, because I was pulling back. Now, granted, I was pulling back a bow that I had gotten when I was like 18 or 17, so I'm hoping I grew a little bit at least, maybe not, but that was tough, and it's still weird. Every time I pull that bow back now, I'm like, all right. Got to get my knuckle in this spot. Like I've got to remind myself because I naturally want to just keep doing what I was doing.
It's hard. It's hard to break those habits, and that's one of the toughest things we do is trying to teach people and relocating what we call that anchor point. But this is a problem if you don't have a rock solid anchor. You're basically like a ship floating at sea. You're just out here just wherever. And you can tell by shooting whenever you miss that anchor up or down one way or another, you're going to notice it downrange on your target.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is help people find a recognizable anchor point where you can go back to that same place, and usually that's bone on bone. So whether it's your inside knuckle, if you're shooting a wrist strap, or if you're shooting a thumb button or a hinge, in between that first and second digit, making that sure anchor, and then nose on the string. That's one of the things that Bomar, that he's gained a lot of notoriety about his nose buttons. But whether it's a nose button or just I use a piece of serving on my string, but going to that same place every time. And if your peep is correct and you center that sight housing in the center of that peep, you have 3 points of reference, and you almost have to. If one of those is off, it's going to make you adjust the other.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gives you, it makes you go to the same place every time.
Right.
One of the joys that I have is being able to teach young archers and new archers these things and starting those habits early on so that when they get older, they don't come into a bow shop and some guy goes, hey, man, let me show you something.
Stand up. That was me.
Well,
that was me.
Well, I didn't have anybody, I didn't have anybody show me those things. I didn't have, it took somebody like myself that, teaching these things and sharing these things. But now you can go online. You can watch YouTube videos. And that's the deal. One of my bow techs showed me the other day, this guy was posting some stuff on social media, and he was like way past, he didn't have an anchor. He was way out here, and the meme kind of said, expert archer or something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody was laughing because they knew this guy had no clue.
Oh, you could tell there was I may have seen that, or either I thought it was a commercial for something, like maybe in a commercial for an ad for camouflage, and it was a guy pulling back a bow, and I'm like, that's not that dude's bow.
Right.
Yeah. Not even close to being that guy's bow. What do you think, now that we're just kind of on problems, what do you think the number one problem you have from people, like when they come in, they're new archers or not new archers, let's say like they're an old guy. What is like the number one flaw you see when people are trying to shoot a new bow? Is it
with the bow or the person or the shooter?
With the shooter, like, is it the form, or my bad, that was a terrible worded question, but like, what's the number one bad thing about form that somebody may bring in?
Yeah, I mean, and this is the deal. Again, it's that anchor, and a lot of guys were. I don't know where this came from or where it started, but a lot of guys take their thumb and actually put it. And there's actually there's a couple guys that are very successful archers that are on social media that actually still do this, but they put their thumb on the back of their neck. And I think we deal with that a lot, but still, based on the pressure, your thumb, you can move that
That's a little
forward or
tough.
backward.
Yeah.
You still, I mean, you can still move your anchor point, form, grip. I mean, you get in the habit of doing something. This is the thing that I see a lot. All right, so last year you shot, maybe you shot 2 weeks before season opened up. You got your bow out, you waxed up your string, made sure your arrows were okay, you flexed them, whatever. Got your target out. You shot, 4 or 5 days, and everything's good. You feel good about it. You went and hunted. You maybe killed 1 or 2 deer, so you may have shot, maybe checked it in between hunts or something like that. So you may have shot, a total of 100 times last year. All right, now it's new season again. Guess what? Where was I anchoring last year?
Yeah.
I mean, they forget grip. They forget about, well, I don't remember exactly how that was working last year. And I have some guys come in and they're like, man, my peep's incorrect. I mean, I need you to move my peep. And I'm like, well, did you change draw length? What's going on? And they're like, no, it's not right. And the whole deal is, that if you move this anchor and you change all that, it's going to change your peep height. I mean, if it's something that you don't do all the time, then you kind of forget those. You forget those things.
Well, I mean, it's your grip hand too. I mean, besides your grip, I've used to have a bad problem of locking my elbow out. So
you only had that problem probably once. Wow.
Well, with my grip,
yeah.
my hands, there's plenty of room for the string to clear, even if I lock it out. But if I don't have the right, that's how I know I'm right. My peep's not right until I have the right amount of bend. But
I didn't know this till the other day. One of my friends was telling me that, and I think I want to say it's Dudley, but he's actually got I had came up with this little deal that I teach young archers about, anchor, nose, peep, then sight acquisition, grip, stance, all of these things. You kind of go through this checklist every time. And if you'll do this every time, it'll help you. I think Dudley actually has something similar to that, because a buddy of mine was telling me, oh yeah, I've seen that before. But it's one of those things, and I try to do that. And I know if one of those, if I don't go through that checklist, and if I don't, your bubble, your sight, bubble, grip, all of those things, and make sure I go through that checklist, and I skip one of those, then it usually shows up, downrange. It's just a good habit to get into, and eventually it will become part of the process. It's kind of muscle memory or whatever. But if we don't do it often enough, then it's easy to forget those things. And so this time of year, this is something that we see a lot. Sometimes it can be frustrating. Sometimes you just some guys there's nothing you can do. I mean, I had a guy come in the other day, and his anchor was it's too far back. Draw length was pretty good, but basically he's collapsing his elbow to compensate for it. And he's anchoring too far back, but he wanted me to put a kisser button on. And what I was trying to explain to him, so the string was coming like past on his cheek, way past over here. And what I was trying to explain to him, I said, I don't think that'll work with your form right here, because that kisser button is going to hit you back here in the middle of the cheek. You would have to change. And he said, I told him, I said, this is what you would have to do. Try to explain the whole deal to him. He's like, oh, well, I don't want to do that, And so, that's the deal. I mean, kisser buttons do help correctly. I mean, if properly placed, and a lot of guys shoot them. And again, it's that point of reference. If you anchor and that kisser button is in the same place, nose on the string, center that peep, sight in your peep, it's going to make you go to the same place, and you're going to see it downrange.
I feel like everything, just getting back into it, like if I added a kisser button, it would just screw me up right now. Because I'm still trying to doing the absolute basics every time I shoot. I may have shot that new bow, I don't know, 60 times right now, maybe 60, 75 times. And like now I'm just now comfortable enough shooting it, pulling it back, holding it steady, and, making a good shot. I still haven't even put I still have setup tape on it. I've shot it at 20 a billion different times. And then I backed it up to 30, kind of got an okay group, backed it up to 40. And I had 2 or 3 arrows that were pretty dang good.
2.
Yeah.
You had 2.
I had 2. And I pulled the third one out and sent the boys a picture. I was like, check it out, man. And hitting it at 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a true story. And but yeah, so I don't know. All these other elements, like I feel like they make a good archer a better one, but they make a novice, like to me it feels like it's too much. Am I wrong?
There's just so many variables. I mean, even now, me and Justin, one of our other guys, we are saddle hunting. We were shooting out of saddles in the yard, and all of a sudden I'm shooting 3 inches right.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I must have dropped my bow. Well, no, that's because I'm hanging out like this.
That's right.
There's a new element of torque all of a sudden.
That's right. That's
right.
right.
So I mean, there's just so many different things that can affect your shot.
I always know, and this is some of the things that I try to, especially with young archers, and one of the things that I tell them, and even like with my kids, like we were shooting in the yard the other day, and my daughter, she was hitting perfect, and then all of a sudden her whole group moved, and she's like, what's going on? And I was like, well, number one, we didn't adjust the bow, we didn't move the sight, so it's got to be you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing something different. And for a lot of guys, that's where we lose confidence, is because you go out there and you shoot one day, and you're just like you're talking about, man, you got a good group. You hang it up, you go a couple days, 3 or 4 days, and you grab it again. You go back out there, and then all of a sudden, that group that you've sighted in, you feel confident about, it's moved over here. Well, the bow hasn't changed. You hadn't moved your sight. You haven't changed arrows. You haven't moved your rest, any of that. So the only thing that's changed is you. So you're doing something different. You got to figure out what that something is. And usually it's right here. It's that anchor. It's something you're doing.
Sounds like golf.
Sounds like a fight with my wife.
It's always your fault.
Yeah, it's something I'm doing. She hasn't changed. It's something I'm doing wrong, which is fair. It's usually my fault. But man, Mr. Todd, we have taken up a ton of your time. To be fair, some of the time was on the Zoom call, but I felt like we tackled that together.
No, hey, look, how long? I don't even know what time it is. How long we've been on?
8:50.
We've been on about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And we had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, we had some technical.
I want to ask my question.
Oh yeah. Ask your question.
Come on, hey, ask all your questions.
I got a question. So what is the most overlooked, I guess, item on the bow checklist as far as, so talk about John Dudley. I'm pretty sure it was him. I was listening to a podcast and somebody asked him a similar question. He said, I think the most overlooked thing on a bow setup, I guess, is the servings. Because he said, if servings are too thick or servings are too thin, you're going to get inconsistent flight because of X, Y, and Z. I mean, he got super technical, and for the average Joe Blow going out there and shooting deer at 20 yards at a corn feeder, it doesn't matter. But
calm down.
Yeah, but what is something that everybody goes out and says, well, let me check the timing, it's good, let me go hunt. I mean, is there anything else that's maybe often overlooked to be addressed?
I think probably one of the most overlooked things, and this is something that we try to do a good job of, is like, and I know years ago, I used to do a lot of my own stuff before I ever worked in a bow shop or, was working on bows for somebody else. I did all my own work on my bows. And one of the things is you don't realize, but a lot of these sights have a second and third axis setting on them. And so you can take a sight right out of the box and slap it on your bow and go hunt with it. And I have a ton of guys that come in and they're like, man, something's funky, something's going on, I mean, like with my sight, because I hold my, my bow, and they try to level that bubble on their sight, and they're like, my riser's kind of, it's leaning, it's leaning bad, it's bad. But that is something, that second and third axis, that's something we don't think about. And if you just say you purchased a site on Amazon or online or whatever, I mean, you may have bought it on Simmons Sporting Goods.com. I mean, hey, and we shipped it to your house, and you slapped it on your bow, and you never plumbed your bow. Plumb, when I say plumb, that's leveled your bow vertically, and then check your sight to be level horizontally. Then you could see an effect of that, and especially downrange. One of those things, but we see some of that. That's some of the things that we try to do. Of course, paper tuning. I mean, this is a deal, and I've talked to some guys that have shot in the industry for years, and they're like, as long as it's consistent, as long as it's within the fletching. I mean, there's so many different, rules of thumb on that. Everybody wants a perfect bullet hole. I mean, I can make your bow shoot a perfect bullet hole. I don't know if you can, and I don't know if we can live within the tolerances. I mean, I can make it, but sometimes that's not as important as it's shooting well. Will it shoot well? Can you sight it in? Timing, is a big thing. Somebody sent me something the other day about Levi Morgan and the process that he goes through on his arrows. Like, he weighs every single arrow, and I mean, everything that he goes through just to pick out those few hunting arrows that he does. Most guys, they're not going to do that. Most guys aren't going to weigh their arrow. They're not going to weigh their nocks. They're not going to weigh every broadhead. They're not going to weigh every insert. Go through all that as meticulous as that. And really, I'll be honest, you don't have to do that to kill deer.
Right.
Man, you can buy a bow, you can have it set up. I mean, you can buy inexpensive arrow. I mean, all the arrows on the market today are good. I mean, all sights. I mean, you can spend as much or as little as you want, but I still have guys that come in the shop. Had a guy come in the other day, had a bow that's probably no less than 30 years old. We put him a new string on it. We tuned it. We set it up for him, and he's killing deer with it. He's got an old pendulum sight on it that I hadn't seen in years. I mean, he's got duct tape on his quiver. I mean, and he's shooting an old Muzzy, 3-blade Muzzy, and he's still killing deer. Okay. I mean, you can't reinvent the wheel. I mean, that bow's got a lot of hand shock in it. I mean, it's slow, it's loud, but it still gets the job done. There's been tons of advancements in technology and everything. The bows are a lot quieter, they're a lot smoother, the draw's smooth. I mean, they feel good in our hands, but I mean, whatever works for you. This is what I tell people. To me, the number one thing that I see for killing deer is confidence in your equipment. Number one. If you walk in and we talk for very long, I'm going to ask you what you're shooting and what you've had success with, and usually somebody's going to tell me, well, I don't use this anymore. And if you listen long enough, you'll understand why, because they had a bad experience with whatever it was, whether it was a broadhead or an arrow or a bow or whatever it was. And 9 times out of 10, it was probably a user error. It wasn't actually the product's fault. But anyway, whatever. But they had a bad experience with that. And because of that, it caused them to question, whether or not that product was good. And so they moved to another one that worked for them. And so for a lot of guys, they walk in and they're like, I want to try something new. And I'm like, well, what are you shooting? And they're like, whatever it is. And I'm like, well, is it working for you now? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, well, you probably ought to stay with that, because confidence in your equipment, that gives you the ability to go out and to enjoy hunt, to do what you love, and to kill, animals. If you get out there and you begin to question, well, and I don't know about this, and then that doubt creeps in, and that just creates all these other problems, and then you get to second guessing. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
You get to second guessing your equipment. You get to second guessing, well, is this right? Is it going to shoot right? And then that's where, a lot of stuff. So to me, I don't care what you're shooting, what manufacturer, what broadhead. You can pick any broadhead on the wall. You can use any arrow, any bow, doesn't matter. If you got confidence in your equipment, it's going to hit where you're aiming, you can go and kill deer.
Hey, I'm shooting those arrows I got off Amazon. They're Carbon Express.
Yeah.
I want to kill a deer with it and then show people like, all right, look, you can get the top of the line stuff, but I got this, and then check out what it did. Because I'm just like you, like confidence is key, which is confidence is key in everything.
That's one less thing to think about too. I mean, there's 10,000 things that can go wrong as it is. You don't need to have your equipment be one.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And a way to have confidence in your stuff is just practice.
Mm.
Just get out and practice. I mean,
yeah.
I love my new setup. Like I fought victim to the hunting public. They said this was a great bow, and they're all hunting with it. They kill deer all year. I'm like, these guys know what they're doing. So, and I'm basically a novice at this. I'm new again. So I'm gonna take their word. And it wasn't the most expensive bow.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, well, and it wasn't the cheapest either. No. I don't think.
Right.
No.
What do they? I mean, you as a coach, you ought to know this. I mean, don't you create your own luck?
Yes, right. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Preparation breeds.
What is that?
Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. That's one of my favorites. I just got to stop and really think about it. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But anything you put the reps in, anything you put the reps in when game day is confidence. It's just you're just going out there.
You put that on a pillow.
Yeah. Well, what you were talking about. My main thing in archery for me right now is practice like you play. That's my coaching deal. Practice like you play. If you practice like crap and you're lazy, when you go out on game day, you're going to suck. Same thing with shooting. Is now I'm excuse me, maybe one more shoot, I'll be confident enough to put on the real sight tape and be like, this is 40 yards, this is 30, this is 20. Granted, I'll probably never shoot a deer at 40, but you never know. But anyways, practicing out of a chair.
Sure.
Or practicing out like what Jordan's saying is practicing out of a saddle or practicing out of a tree stand. I don't know if you saw it when you walked back out here. My tree stand's out there.
I did not see that.
I'm gonna try to shoot out of it this week. Just try to get it going. So I think
I'm gonna tell you this: if you're gonna hunt out of a saddle, you better dang well shoot out of it.
I'm too scared of heights.
You better practice
remotely. Yeah, it's not even close to the same thing. Because, like I said, I mean, you can. I don't advise it, but you can shoot from the ground and then go get in a lone wolf and shoot. I mean, you're basically level. But in a saddle, I mean, you're at 45 degrees at best. And that's if you're not spun all the way around the tree, I mean, there's so many different, like I said, so many different torques involved. Your bubble's over here. So by the time you try to get it back level, I mean, you're putting pressure in.
Y'all keep saying a bubble, and my sight doesn't have that, and now I think I need one.
And a third axis adjustment.
I don't know anything about the axis.
For the record, I tried to give him a HHA with a third, as a kingpin with a third axis adjustment, the whole deal, and he wouldn't take it. Yeah. So that's his fault.
Well, hey, if it doesn't have a bubble, you don't need it, but
there you go.
Confidence in your equipment.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
what
if a deer walks out at 20 yards, it's dead.
That's right. That's all.
DED.
Yeah.
Jordan, what saddle are you hunting with this year?
A cruiser.
Okay, you went with the cruiser.
I did. I'm I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a wide boy, and
thick.
Thick. THICC, and the tethered was a little bit too narrow for my build. Felt like it was going to give me some hip pinch. I sat in one for a minute. I was like,
really?
I don't know. Yeah, that's why I said for you, I think it'd be great because you're a little bit more narrow.
Oh yeah,
than me.
thanks.
I didn't say you're small. You're narrow.
Thank you. Yeah.
Narrow.
What's with Travis when we were at Simmons? Y'all had one. Y'all had one right there by the archery department, and he was like getting in it. I'm like, Travis, I'll be honest with you, dude. I don't think looking at you, looking at this pole, man. I don't think you need to be doing that.
Reading the weight requirements.
Yeah, I mean, there was only like 4 screws holding the thing in the ceiling. I was like, dude.
Well, I mean, Justin, the other guy that I'm going to be hunting with this year that saddle hunts is in a tethered. He weighs 50 pounds less than me probably, and he's a lot slimmer. The Cruiser it's got that nice deep pleated seat, and it just, I don't know, it seemed to fit me a lot better. I pulled probably a dozen all day sits in it last year.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I never had an issue with the saddle. I had a lot of hot spots in my feet, cause I didn't have, my platform does not have a 45-degree angle for leaning. So I'd get, my feet would hurt after a while from getting on the edge. But as far as the saddle, I never had anything.
That's one of the things that I actually have a saddle this year, and I'm gonna attempt it. But I'm not saying all the guys, but several of the guys that I hunt with, they went all in last year and hunted, and they're like, "Man, you got to get one." And I'm like, I said in the one of the tethered, I think it was the Manus
yeah, that's the main one.
Yeah. I sat in one for, 30, 40 minutes one day in a buddy of mine's yard, and I'm like, man, we're hunting public land up in Illinois, and I'm like, man, I just can't see myself sitting in this saddle all day, because most days whenever I go in, I'm not coming out unless I shoot something where it's dark.
Right.
We're going to sit all day. And I'm like, I don't think I can't see myself sitting in this all day. But I think it does have its uses. I think it's, in my opinion, it's a tool, just like a climber or a lock on, and I think it can be very beneficial. So I'm gonna try it. What sticks are you running?
I'm actually using Hawk Heliums. We've climbed in Justin's yard with the Lone Wolf sticks, because they've got the I don't even know what you would, adjustable.
Don't look at me.
Cleats on the.
The cleats actually move, and that's one of the biggest complaints with the Hawk is they don't move, and so they will kick out on you.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. When I'm climbing in the dark, I don't want it to spin. I want to know that it is true, right, and I know where it's at. I liked the Hawks last year.
Why would you want it to spin?
If you're at a tree that moves, it you can
that moves
just with the tree, and it's
one thing.
Yeah,
one of the guys that I hunt with, actually, he told me, like, on the Hawks, he had an issue with them is kicking out at the bottom. So if you don't have them square on the tree, and if you don't have them tight enough, when you get to that top step and you step on the left or the right side, that it will, kind of spin with you. But I actually had a guy came today and stayed late. That's where I was getting before I met up with y'all. He came and showed me his setup, and he's running some out on a limb sticks. I don't know if you've heard of them, but anyway, man, super light, 22-inch. He showed me his whole setup, man. I'm like, I'm way behind.
There's much nicer sticks than Hawks for sure. We're getting to the point where there's a lot of saddle specific, items coming into the market.
Let me ask you this now, and just like the whole, I told you the ranch fair deal, everybody dove off in it. I'm starting to see. I had 2 or 3 different guys in the last 2 weeks came in, and last year we built their setups for them, and they went heavy. They were shooting 550 or greater. One of them was shooting 610, and this year he's wanting to be 450. And so I can kind of see the trend coming back on the whole heavy deal, ranch fair deal. I kind of feel like the same deal with a lot of guys are jumping into this whole saddle deal. And I think you're going to see that also. You're going to see a bunch of guys get in. You can go Saddle Hunter Nation on Facebook right now, and you can find stuff cheap. Well, not cheap, but you can find a ton of stuff that people have bought, and they're like, this is not for me. And so you can find all kinds of stuff. they're getting out. They tried this. No, that's not. I think a lot of people look at saddle hunting. They're like, oh, that's lighter. It's quicker. It's yeah, I want to do that. Man, it's still a lot of work.
Oh,
What I'm finding,
it's a ton of work.
this is me. There's still a lot of work in saddle hunting as far as climbing. And I mean, I went online and bought me some and steel, like some rope instead of using the ratchets and all of that. I got me a Versa. I got me a Versa 8er. I mean, I'm getting all this stuff.
You're all in.
I mean, so I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm like, man, this stuff costs, and it's still. Once I get it all, like this guy that came today, he showed me his pack, and after he's got I'm probably not gonna say it right, but Eberly stock backpack, or Eberly stock.
Yeah,
man, perfect backpack for the whole saddle setup. He had his 2 sticks on each side. He had his saddle in the middle. He had his platform in the middle, and his all his necessities or whatever. And whenever he got it, and I picked it up, and I was like, golly, this thing, I think it's heavier than my climber.
It's
I'm like, what are we doing? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily lighter. I don't think it's quicker to set up. To me, it's a lot of work. I mean, I hunted it almost exclusively last year. I mean,
so it's more comfortable just to be in.
To me, it's more comfortable, and the versatility or the
360 shooting.
It's not 360. That's how they sell it to you when you watch the YouTube. It's not unless you've got a ring of steps. There's no way you can shoot 360 degrees.
I always wondered that because you're like, my platform. You're not like my platforms.
Your platform's this big. Yeah. I mean, you can get your range of shot is 500 times what it would be out of a lock on, but still, it's limited.
I'm too scared. I'm not a big heights guy. I can't get there 20 feet up and then just tie
climb
myself.
roofs for a living, so that
it's true. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to tie myself to a rope and then lean back. I don't know if I can.
But this is the deal. Honestly, though, the saddle deal, and this is what a lot of people, just like you said, Tyler, a lot of people are like, no, I'm not doing that. It is safer than a climber. It's probably safer than a lock on unless you have a lifeline. If you're attached to a lifeline,
most older guys are lifelines.
Yeah, I mean it's safer than. I mean, I feel more comfortable in that saddle than I do in anything else.
100%. Yeah.
I'm a lean-to guy.
Well, it's probably safer than you lean-to because you probably don't have a lifeline on you.
You don't have a lifeline on, do you? No. So, I mean,
so when you're climbing, yeah.
I mean, you're never off the tree. I mean, you're.
So I could do it and go up 12 feet.
If you do it correctly, you've got a lineman's belt on, just like a power pole guy.
Yeah.
Wire going up and coming down. And once you're in, you keep your lineman's on, you put your tether on, you lock in, you test everything, you take your lineman's off, you're still on the tether. And some guys, I mean, I've heard of guys that hunt with both on, so they've got a double safety on.
Let one of these companies sponsor us, and then I'll do it.
Well, we tried to get Cruiser, they didn't bite.
Yeah, Cruiser didn't bite. We tried real hard.
I like Tether. They seem to be a fan of the little man, but I don't like their saddle as much. So
we'll bleep
the Phantom. I like their Phantom. I ended up with the Trophy line, and I'm gonna try it. I really liked, my favorite at ATA this past year was the Latitude, and that was the one that
I heard about that. I haven't sat in one.
That was the one I wanted to go with. I like their platform better. I like their saddle. I mean, and basically we were looking at those and Tethered had already made a commitment that they were going to go wholesale. I know they're getting trashed on social media right now. I mean, they're getting hammered. Yeah, they're getting hammered right now because I think they're outsourcing a lot of their stuff. They can't meet demand, so they had to send a lot of it to China, and so they're outsourcing some of their stuff. And their sticks look just like Hawks or XOPs or whatever, and so they're getting a lot of flack for that. But
makes sense.
I mean, but this was the deal. Latitude, whenever I talked to them, I said, look, we want to bring y'all in. And they were like, man, that was their hesitancy, was they couldn't meet demand, so they weren't willing to go wholesale. They said, we're going to stay consumer direct. Well, it wasn't but just a couple months when they figured out, okay, every other major saddle manufacturer is going wholesale. They said, yeah, they're gonna go, and I think we're probably gonna have them in the store next year. But right now we've got the XOP, we've got the Hawk hammock, we've got the trophy line, and we've got the tethered in store.
Maybe
And
next
a lot
year
of
there'll
people
be
walk.
something. Maybe
Yeah.
next year there'll be something y'all can talk me into when we make our Simmons trip.
I was trying to find what my platform was because I couldn't remember. It's XOP, Extreme Outdoor Products.
Yeah.
Super impressed with that platform. It's heavy, but
I went with
it feels like you're on. It feels like you have cleats on in grass when you're up there. I mean, there's just no movement.
Is it a good feeling? Oh, okay. No,
it just feels
I
it's solid. Your feet don't wiggle.
Yeah.
You know, there's knobs and gnarls and spikes all over it, and it hurts when you're.
I think I'm gonna run the. I bought the the trophy line EDP platform. I liked it best out of what we had in the store, and I'm gonna try the Hawk sticks this year and just see. And if I stay with it, then maybe upgrade to something else maybe next year. But we looked at they had some carbon sticks at ATA this year, but man, they're like 100 and those out on limb sticks that I showed you today, they were 120 a piece.
Yeah.
Those carbon sticks are $100 and something a piece. I think, if you go with the Lone Wolf Customs, I mean, you're same deal.
See, with Lone Wolf, you've got the single step, and I just hate that. I absolutely hate it. That's what I liked about the Heliums is you've got the double step. I don't care if it's extra weight. You want that when you're sitting there, especially in the dark, and something's tangled, and you're having to fiddle around with something. You want to have 2 feet down, otherwise your calf's about to explode.
Hey, look, I'm gonna put y'all on to something, and this will. Have you ever heard of? It's called the Booger. And I've never seen one of these before, but you got to Google it. But it's basically this, like this guy had it in his pack, and I got to find it. But anyway, it's like this grapple, but you can set it where it stays open. And if you drop something, so say you're in your climber, you're locked on, you're in your saddle, and you drop something on the ground, you could actually lower this thing down and drop it, and it would pick up.
I need that today.
Genius.
I need that today.
It's called the Booger.
It's called the Booger. He had it in his pack, and he showed it to me. And look, I said, this is where I'm gonna need it for my release. I had my release in my back pocket, my thumb button. I laid it on the concrete. We're in the parking lot of Simmons. He showed me all this stuff. I laid it on there, and I dropped it from like 3 feet above it, and it grabbed a hold of it and picked it up. He showed me he had a bottle of water. It picked up a bottle of water. It picked up his platform. He dropped it on his platform. It picked up his platform. It's called the Booger. That's it right there. That is
for all y'all watching on YouTube, I just found it. The Booger.
No free ads.
No free ads, Booger. I'll be contacting you after this.
We are going to be booger eaters from here on out.
I've got to have one. I'm going to get one. But that's the coolest product I've seen in a long time. How many times have you dropped something out of the tree, a river, or something? And this thing, he had it in his pack, and I mean, you just let it down, and it grabs whatever. I mean, that's a free plug for.
Yeah, you can just do it on your tow rope.
Yet another. Why didn't we think of that kind of thing?
That kind of stuff makes me so mad. This is so like, I mean, it's basically. I've never
even heard of it before.
It's spring loaded. And it only weighs 4 ounces, and it probably cost all of like
$25.
$20.
Yeah, it's $30. It probably cost him $5 to make.
And I'm gonna have one tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be the biggest retriever.
Look,
Booger tree stand retriever.
The Booger. I mean,
retriever.
Love
it.
I mean,
message them right now.
I'm gonna look them up on.
That's
Facebook.
the coolest thing. Hey, they're gonna be the next. They're gonna be the next sponsor of Kepler Creek.
Absolutely.
They are. Oh, there's about to be a big booger poster
booger poster right here behind. You can. I mean, it wouldn't take a lot of money for me to have a poster that said the Booger.
No, $20.
Maybe like a free hat.
$20 a hat.
Oh man.
I just want a small percent.
Absolutely.
Oh, we'll cut you in, Mr. Todd. Don't you worry about that.
We got tens of listeners. We'll take care of that. Don't you worry.
Tens of listeners.
Tens of listeners.
Tens.
But
look, I've been asking Jordan these questions. I want to ask you one question, Tyler.
Yeah.
Did y'all play Friday night?
We did. We sure did. We beat Central out of Texas, East Texas. We beat them 71-42.
Cool.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
71-42.
Sounds like LSU Southern.
We beat Airline the week before.
Come on, Stonewall beat Airline.
Hey man, we're rolling. We're number 2 in the state right now.
Oh, Daddy Dunn's got it figured out.
Oh, Dennis Dunn got
Yes,
us
sir.
rolling. So, this week we have Loyola Shreveport.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
Do y'all play anybody over this way? Over eastern part of the state?
We don't this year. The furthest we go on I-20 is Minden. Everybody else is kind of in the cities here, Shreveport, Bossier, but playoffs may bring us over there. They just had a reconstructing of the whole playoff thing this last Friday, and it really helped out North DeSoto High School. I've
heard a lot of people be upset, but I haven't.
Well, it's because it's not to turn an outdoor podcast into a sports one. It finally made it fair. And so now all these little schools or not little schools, some schools are mad because they were bending the rules a little bit to their advantage. They had figured it out. And now in the long run, it's really screwed them. So, but yeah, that's tough right now is balancing ball, middle school ball, high school ball, and then trying to get ready to kill deer. Plant food.
Look, I went yesterday and fed up my place in Arkansas, and then I've got a new place in Louisiana. I went and put a camera out down there yesterday. I've already got a buck on camera there. I'm excited about that. Arkansas opens not this weekend, but next weekend.
Oh wow!
And I don't have anything. Looks like it's gonna be a doe. It's gonna be a little doe management weekend.
A little freezer filler, the doe slayer.
That's right.
I like to get them out of the way early. I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that way you're not killing a doe with, maybe a fetus or, she's not bred. So you're going to do that doe management. If you're going to do that doe management, you got to do it before the rut,
100%. So we actually, at some point, there's going to be a blog coming that,
Oh, don't ruin it.
Yeah.
He's gonna tell about an experience that
There's an experience I had to do with a lot of what you just said with proper doe management and the lack thereof on my part. There's a lot to learn about when to kill them. Yeah.
Well, that's tough right there. But yeah, that's coming up next weekend. I'm excited about that. Me and my daughter, son, and my daughter's boyfriend. We're all going to camp. We'll go up there and spend some time. Try to swack on some of them does, Arkansas does.
That's what I'm talking
Hammer
about.
Hammer
down.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Todd, we surely do appreciate you. Let's do this again, though, because
absolutely.
With Justin would have some great questions.
He would.
He's a nerd.
We call him Pro Tip. He's got all the technical knowledge.
Yeah,
we're just a couple guys.
Okay.
I'm a have stuff.
Truly enjoyed it, and anytime y'all guys want to hang out and talk archery, talk hunting, anything like that, I'm game.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate y'all.
We're gonna. I know I'm gonna travel there in the spring or after season and get my bow tuned up and spend some more money there at old Simmons Sporting Goods. One of my favorite places for sure.
Mr. Todd's one of the good ones. You said something a minute ago. You said if you listen long enough, the customer will tell you X, Y, and Z. And I can tell you from being to a lot of other bow shops, most bow technicians, not bow tech, do not listen long enough to hear anything. It's a lot of, well, this is what you need to do. So that speaks volumes to, how you handle your business in there. And I can see why, everybody else speaks so highly of you. I need to come see you myself. So.
Absolutely. We'd love for you to come over. We still got tons of bows in stock. Of course, it's only a couple, really, we're getting down to weeks. Before we're going to have new bows in stock. So, first of November.
Don't tell me that. My wife's at home happy with me right now.
Everybody will be releasing their new stuff, first of November. Hoyt last year was in January, the last 2 years, but this year, my guy told me the other day they're going to release with everybody else. So, should have Hoyt and all the major manufacturers be releasing their new flagship bows here in a couple months. I know that really stinks. That's I mean, everybody's like, why do they do that right in the middle of the season? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, why not? I wish they'd wait till ATA, second week of January or something like that to do that. But I mean, I guess they can do whatever they want to do. But yeah, I mean,
in August when everybody gets excited,
how many guys are going to walk in and buy a bow? Realistically, they'll drop the bow 1st of November. We'll have bows in stock. Depending on the manufacturer, we'll have bows in stock maybe the 2nd or 3rd week of November. I mean, how many guys are going to walk? I mean, I'm going to have a bunch of guys do it, but I mean, I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather buy my bow in the spring, shoot it all, all year, and be prepared come fall. But every year I have a guy, he'll walk in and he'll buy, brand spanking new bow, rig it out, and leave from the store and head straight to Kansas or Illinois or Kansas. Oklahoma or wherever, and go hunt with it. And I'm like, man, kudos to you. So
all the money that I don't have.
That's my brother to a T. I'm the opposite. I shot a Matthews. Was it the Z28 or something like Z something? It was an old bow, real short. Man,
I had a Z Max. We found it the other day, and I brought it in the shop, and I let Riley. Of course, they're much younger than me. I mean, I think Riley's 20, 24.
Yeah, he's still in college.
Yeah, he's still in college. Will graduated last year. I think Will's a little bit younger than him, but I'm almost double their age. So I found one of my old bows the other day. I brought it in the shop, and it still had the old rubber kisser button on the bottom of it. It didn't have a D loop on it, and we rigged it up, and I let them shoot it. It almost jumps out of your hand. It was the Matthews Z Max. Yeah, I mean vibration. It was terrible. But back then, man, that was the thing.
It was it.
It was, and it's loud. It vibrates. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. It's horrible. Solo cam. Man, I'm like, how in the world did we ever shoot that junk? And
now you're getting a new bow every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that sucks, doesn't it?
Well, I don't get one every year. I do that.
I get a new bow next year. I'll give you my last year. So how about that?
Come on, man.
Y'all heard it.
Yeah, you heard it
here.
It's
on the interwebs.
You heard it here. You heard it here first. He's going to give me a sick deal on it. We'll trade you a Bear Adapt hunting public bow.
Absolutely. With 3 kills on it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Man,
3 kills is about 3 times as many as I had last year. So,
and 3 times more than you'll have this year if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, that's true. We're gonna give it a shot though.
We're in an online official competition between him and his buddy. Well, Travis, you met Travis.
Yep.
And me and Justin talking about on which group can kill the first deer on camera this year. So that's why.
Man, that's awesome. I would love that.
You can feel the tension here. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm like every time
little trash talking.
Yeah. They put in a lot more work. His partners put in a lot more work.
Justin has put in a lot more work.
Yeah.
Some of us work for us, so I can't always be out there.
That's very true.
We got a little deal in the shop. The first guy, Will and Riley, they both have traditional bows. And so first one to kill a deer with a traditional bow this year, $100 bet on that. But we always, every year we do first guy to kill in the shop, steak supper. So doesn't matter what it is. So I just like to shoot. I like to kill. So
same. I like to miss according to last year, but we're gonna remedy that this year.
Yeah, heard that.
Hey, what do they say about you? You miss 100% of the shots you
don't take. Exactly
right.
Yeah. Some of us miss 100% of the shots we do take.
Yeah.
But that's
listen. You need to put that on a T-shirt and then put Kepler Creek on it.
There you go. With an arrow
tonight.
Yeah, we'll do that tonight. We'll get one sent to Bastrop, Louisiana. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. That'll take no time. That's literally all I do. But
we designed T-shirts last night.
Yeah, just sat around talking, and they'll never sell, but it's fun to talk about.
It's fun to talk about them.
Yeah.
One of our tens of listeners will buy a T-shirt one day.
Kepler Creek.
I'll wear one.
Yeah, there you go. We'll send you one.
You're gonna get one, Mr.
Yeah,
Todd.
we will send you one. But Man, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to edit this thing, and I will send it to you, Mr. Todd.
Hey, thank y'all. Y'all have a great evening.
Oh,
Man,
you
you
too,
too.
sir. We appreciate you.
We'll holler at you.
Yes, sir. All right, bud.
See you.
All right, now.
So,
Peace.
again, great interview, Mr. Todd. I became a better hunter today and a better archer.
I'm a better person.
Better person, absolutely. So,
Mr. Todd was awesome.
yeah, he's a great guy. We appreciate you listening. Appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, subscribe on the YouTube. Like every video we've ever put on there.
All of them.
Go to Instagram. Follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Like the video. Go to church.
That's the important one.